design function?
Well, when you're planning your network, obviously one of the key things you're most concerned about is ease of use and plug and play and so forth, and making sure that things are very, very easy to deploy. And we've designed the unified architecture really with that fundamental concept in mind. If you look at the way the unified architecture works as compared to, say, the traditional autonomous architecture we've used for a number of years, there's a lot of ease of use and automation capabilities built in. If you look at a traditional architecture, people used to think of access points as being really standalone devices that you have to kind of go out and plug them in and configure them one by one. In the unified architecture, when you plug in an access point, you basically have nothing else to do. You plug in the power, you plug in the network, you walk away. The access point is zero configuration. It goes back to the wireless control system and the controllers and the higher level management software we've built. And it actually finds the controller. The controller looks at the access point, establishes a trusted relationship using certificates, and then it actually goes ahead and upgrades that access point to the latest version of the software. In a larger network, if you have, say, hundreds of access points, or maybe even thousands in some cases scattered around the world, we have a higher level utility called the wireless control system, which actually manages tens or hundreds of controllers and downloads software to those controllers, which then gets downloaded to the access point. So we've had a lot of thinking has gone into this architecture. It's very hierarchical, and we make it very, very simple to manage a very large network through a single pane of glass.
It's all very fascinating. I think we could talk a lot about it, but why don't we show an example of some of the things that we've been talking about?
Super. Well, I've actually got the wireless control system running here right on my laptop, and I'm going to show you a real live demo of the wireless network that runs here on Cisco's campus in San Jose, California.
Perfect.
So let's take it to the laptop. Let me log in here. This is actually a web-based capability from its interface. And let me just...
So you'd be kind of logging on like a manager?
This is exactly what a regular IT manager would do if they were going in to check the health of their network. And the beautiful thing about this is that whether you're a small organization, a medium organization, or even a very large organization with thousands of access points, WCS provides you that single pane of glass to manage the whole network all in one. So here we are. We're logged in. And I'm going to walk you through, over the course of our discussion today, I'm going to walk you through a couple of different capabilities ranging from monitoring of the network, configuration capabilities to go out and configure the controllers and the access points. And we'll also talk a little bit about location capabilities later on. But here, when you log in on the very first screen, you'll see the topmost level view of your entire wireless network. And this could cover many, many different devices in many different buildings around the world. The first thing you'll notice here is in the center of the screen, we actually have the coverage areas. And in the case of the San Jose campus at Cisco, this particular user interface is being used to monitor what we call Site 5, Building 14. And actually, Ben, I'm wondering, is this not the building that you actually work in?
That is the building I work in.
Great. So we're actually going to take a look at your building and look at all of the different clients and things that are going on inside your building on the wireless network here shortly.
So this is real time.
This is real time. We're looking at the thing in real time.
Very interesting.
And one of the things I noticed...
at all, Ben? You nervous?
I'm not nervous, but maybe some of the folks on my team might be, depending on how things look.
We'll have to take a look and see what's going on there in a minute. The other thing in the lower right of the screen, you'll see over here something we call client count. And this is basically a histogram showing the number of clients who are active on your wireless network at any given point in time. It's kind of an interesting thing to understand from a utilization perspective. And we're looking at it over the last 24 hours. And you can see that during the middle of the workday yesterday, there were actually over 200 people, in this case 210 people, or 210 devices, I should say, that were accessing the wireless network. Over the course of the rest of the afternoon yesterday, around 6 or 7 o'clock, the number dropped way down. And then over the course of the night, there were only about 10 devices that were using the network. Those are probably tags. Those are things that are used to track valuable assets in the building.
Maybe not enough all-nighters being spent in Building 14. Maybe we want to work on getting that nighttime.
You bet. And then you can see here that around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, people started trooping in with their coffee, and all of a sudden now we have another 150 people on the network today. So in the lower left-hand side of the screen, there's another critical piece of information here, and this is really kind of the snapshot of situations that you might need to be aware of as an IT manager around your network. And they're graded in different colors. There's yellow, orange in the middle, and red on the left-hand side. Now, the yellow situations, and you can see there's over 2,000 yellow situations here on this particular network, are really low-level things that you need to be thinking about, things you might want to check on every once in a while. But on the left-hand side, under the red, you can see there's actually one red situation next to something we call rogues. And those are actually critical situations. Those are things you need to pay very, very quick attention to. So let's click on this situation here and see what that is doing. So here we are looking at one rogue access point. And as you look at the access point here, you can actually see, I can click on it and see why it's listed as a rogue access point. And over here, you can see the name of the access point, the MAC address, and so forth. You can also see on the upper right a message that says rogue access point is on the wired network. What does this mean? Well, an interesting thing about this is that we actually have IDS capabilities or intrusion detection capabilities built into the system, which allow you to go out and physically identify and locate clients or access points that are trying to get access to your network in a rogue manner. They may not necessarily be malicious devices. It could be simply that there's an access point in a cafe like a Starbucks across the street, which is really not a malicious situation, but you want to be aware of those. In some cases, and in this particular case with the red access point, it has physical access to the network, and we actually need to do something about that.
So what you're showing here is a very easy way, and I hear these stories from our customers. Wireless can come into their buildings, whether they like it or not. It could be an access point from home, and this tool lets you easily really locate these devices and identify as a rogue device.
So let's see, you said you worked in building 14. Which floor do you work on?
I'm on the 4th floor.
Well, let's go take a look at the 4th floor. I'm gonna literally teletransport you through to the 4th floor of your building through the WCS interface.
We're going.
I'm gonna click on there.
We're going 4th floor, whether you like it or not. We're coming.
Okay. So here we are. We're on the 4th floor of Building 14 in San Jose. And you can see arrayed across the screen a number of different things. First off, you can see there are 3 or 4 different kinds of devices that we're showing on the screen here.
Okay.
The first one is, of course, the little green circle. Those are the access points themselves.
Okay.
Okay. The second are the little blue squares, and the blue squares represent clients. These could be laptops, for example, or even desktop devices that have wireless capabilities built in. You can see yellow tags. These are little devices that are used to track valuable assets in your network. And then you can see these little skull and crossbone devices, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later in the security section. Those are actually rogue devices.
Goodness, it's a good thing we're talking about security, because I see a lot of rogue devices on that floor.
Well, one of the interesting things about this building is this is really the epicenter of wireless development here in the world. And we have Cisco has probably 350 Wi-Fi engineers working in this building developing the very technology that we talk about today. And most of those engineers have access points and controllers and tags and different things in their offices that are actually not on Cisco's regular IT network. And so they show up as rogues. In most buildings or most customer cases, you'd see very, very few of these rogue devices.
Gotcha.
One other critical thing to point out here is that within the unified architecture, we have a number of capabilities. We talked about ease of use. One of them is called radio resource management. Now, you can see on the screen here a variety of different colors, yellow, greens, and so forth. What that represents is the heat map of the different access points. And what's going on behind the scenes in real time as an automated function of the unified architecture is we have radio resource management, which is looking at all the radios on all those different access points. And in real time, it's adjusting the channel that each of those radios is running on and the power levels of the radio to make sure that you get the best coverage in the network. And in some situations, you have a noise situation where you need to adjust. You can power a radio up or power it down. And even if a situation where an access point fails, the wireless control system recognizes that and can power up the radios around that access point to fill in the hole.
A living and breathing network, so to speak.
It is exactly what it is.
Are we having fun yet?
We're having fun.
I mean, we are chock full of information here on TechWise TV's Wireless Edition. Are you feeling a little insecure? Have no fear. We'll have some useful tips for wireless security and later an easier way of harnessing your applications on a wireless network. All this when TechWise TV continues. Welcome back. There are still a good number of people concerned about security on a wireless network. We have the experts here, Ben Gibson, Ben Iriff. Let's talk about this. What is the status of wireless security?
You know, Jonas, security in the early days of Wi-Fi and wireless LANs, security was a rather significant issue. But a lot has happened since that time. And it's issues around encryption, issues around intrusion detection and prevention, and how do you manage down to the client device. So, Ben, maybe you can share with us more. How has wireless LAN security evolved?
Sure, that's a good question. You know, we've really taken care of security in the last 3 or 4 years. It's nothing like it used to be in terms of customer concerns. The industry's really focused down on addressing security at a number of different levels. When you think of security, you're thinking of sort of a layered set of technologies. You're looking at the clients themselves. You're looking at the way that the infrastructure itself behaves and the interactions with the back end of the network and the data center. You're also looking at the way the applications and the management utilities are working. If you look at the clients for a second, we've focused primarily in the last 3 or 4 years, Cisco and the rest of the industry, in really developing very secure, what they call Cypher Suite